Aloha, and it's a nice Sunday morning here in Hawaii, and I wanted to go through the Clean Play Java practice WOD. Pretty simple WOD. Goal here is really just to start integrating together GitHub, Play, and check style, and kind of understand how they interlock. And maybe there'll be some gotchas that you can come through. So there's no real programming in this one. Again, this is like about the mechanics of getting so you're not tripped up by the simple stuff, and you can spend your time on the hard stuff. Okay, because that's what we want to do, right? We want to just always focus on hard stuff. So let's go through this. We'll start the timer. Here it is. And the first thing is to create a new GitHub repo called cleanplayjava. So we'll go over to GitHub, and we'll say new repository cleanplayjava. And then we got to set it up in our desktop. So we'll click that one, and we'll put it into project hosting 613 in there. So we'll clone it on into there. And it appears to be there because that's kind of a fast operation since there's nothing there. Okay, now here's where things get a little tricky. We're going to be running Activator to create a new play system, also called cleanplayjava, and we can't kind of run Activator and run it into a directory that already exists, which we've just created through GitHub. So we're going to do kind of a silly little thing in order to get around that constraint that neither GitHub nor Activator will put their output into directories that already exist. So what we're going to do here is we're in here. This is our GitHub area. Okay, so you see the .git. So we're going to make dir a temp directory, and then we're going to cd in there, and then inside of there we're going to say Activator new. Make this guy a little wider. And we're going to want to play Java, and then we'll say clean play Java. Okay, and now that's created. And so if we go to project hosting 613 clean play Java, or actually I'll do it this way, clean play Java, and then inside there's temp, and inside there's the clean play Java that's created from Activator. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take all these files, and then I'm going to push them up 2 directories. Okay, which means that now inside cleanplayjava, there is this temp directory with kind of nothing in it, so we can now delete it. Okay, and as a result, we now have a cleanplayjava top-level directory that has both the output from Git, which is the Git directory, as well as all the stuff that we got from running Activator new, which is all this stuff here. Okay, so that's what all that kind of silliness is about in steps 4 and 5. So let's test to make sure our project is set up correctly, and in order to do that, we actually need to get out a level. Well, we're going to be in the wrong place now. So cd project hosting ICS clean. Okay, so here we are. So now we can say Activator test. Okay, and again, one of the nice things now that we're moving into kind of project development that has test cases associated with it, the general idea to kind of make sure things are okay is just run the tests. And in Play, there is this Activator test command that does any compilation that's required and so forth. Okay, so 13 seconds later, we know that we've successfully moved the files around, and we're okay that way. Okay, so now we need to use getignore to update our .getignore for both IntelliJ and Play. So we'll type in IntelliJ, and then we'll type in Play framework, and we'll say generate, and then there's the output from getignore, which unfortunately is not exactly correct. So what we're going to do is in our clean play Java, we're going to go to settings, and we're going to copy in the results of getignore.io. You don't want, according to the specifications from IntelliJ, we want the star.iml files. We want the star, the idea directory. In fact, I'll just delete this. And then we want to comment out this star.idea stuff. Okay. And that's good for IntelliJ. And I have submitted a change request. Okay, star.iml, so that shouldn't be in there either. To the getignore people, so if they ever actually make those changes, we should be okay. And just running getignore will actually yield the right getignore. But for right now, we use that as kind of the starting point, and then we have to check it to make sure. So if we now look through this, we can see that we're not saving out stuff. You know, it looks pretty good. It's hard for you to see that it looks pretty good. It's even kind of hard for me to see that it looks pretty good. But it appears to be pretty good. Okay, so we've used getignore, so we're going to commit our initial version of the system. Whoops, wrong spot. What's wrong with this? There we go. Commit initial version. Okay. We'll wait this. Okay, so now we've got our initial version over at GitHub, and we can kind of just refresh here and see that we have it. Okay. Now we want to import cleanplayjava into IntelliJ, so let's bring up IntelliJ. And we're going to say import project, and then in our project hosting ICS 613 directory, we'll look for our clean. What's wrong here? Import project, Johnson project hosting. There it is. cleanplayjava, so we'll say OK. And we do want to import project from external model SBT. The defaults are OK for this one. We say finish. And this should go relatively fast. The first time, remember, we had that other experience where it's like 20 minutes, you know, to do this kind of stuff because it was downloading half the internet. And so the good news is, having gone through that, you know, that was, I don't know, 10 seconds or something to check to make sure it had everything it wanted. Okay, so now we've got our cleanplayjava with all the stuff that we want in it. And let's go back to Chrome to see what we want to do next. So we've imported cleanplayjava into IntelliJ. Now in IntelliJ, go to Preferences, Other Settings, Check Style, and confirm that the check style rule set is enabled, and check style will test sources as well. So we go here. We'll say Preferences. I could have used a keyboard shortcut for that. Other Settings, Check Style. And for some reason that is just really unclear to me, it seems to lose sight of the rules. I don't know whether it just doesn't like my rules, and so it says, you know, I'm not going to remember these, which I think is really impolite. So we'll click ICSSE, and we'll say scan test files, classes, because we want to do that. And then we'll say OK. And then okay, so that's that one. So we've finished number 10. Run check style on our project. Okay, so we'll go back here. We can do Command-Alt-Shift-I, check style. And we'll have it do the entire project, include test sources. So we'll click OK. And what we find at the end of it is that there are 35 items that have been found from 3 files: application, application test, and integration test. Make sure that when you do this, you're getting, all those check style items. If you're not getting those items, then you haven't somehow configured things correctly. So let's look at application.java. Okay, fine, add those to Git. And what we'll see is, okay, we're using wildcard imports. We'll see there's no Java docs. We see that this is not the correct indentation. And so the way you can fix all this stuff is using reformat code, which is Command-Alt-L. So we'll say Command-Alt-L. And we'll make sure this is checked, optimize imports. That's really nice because that's going to go ahead and fix all our wildcards. Rearrange entries, sure, that just makes the things look better. And we click Run. And all of a sudden that looks good. And we want to we don't like that return statement on the same line. There needs to be a new line there, and that the reformatting doesn't actually fix that for us, so we have to do that ourselves. And then we need to make a couple JavaDoc comments. Missing a JavaDoc comment, so we'll say provides controllers for this application, and this is the controller for the home page, returns the rendered index template. You can put anything you want right there. Maybe you don't even know that those things are the case right now. I don't care that you do exactly that documentation, but just that you recognize that there should be some Java docs there. The other thing we see is that there needs to be a package info file. So in controllers, we can propeller n and go down and say, let's have a package.info, and so we fix that one. And looks like that's pretty much good for that one. Let's go to application.test. Okay, and here you can see, for reasons that are inexplicable to me, they include all of these import statements that aren't even actually referenced in their actual test classes. So again, we're going to do our Command-Alt-L to reformat the code and optimize the imports. So we do that, and kabang, all of a sudden we get rid of all the bad ones, we expand all the wildcards, and we are pretty close to the Java docs that we need. Let's just say tests that 1 + 1 = 2. You might be asking yourself, why the heck do they have that test in their template Java code? I really cannot tell you. I do not know why they do that, but they do it for some reason. This one's a little more interesting. It tests that the index template renders correctly. As you get further into play, you're going to see this is kind of a neat thing. Without having to run a whole web application server, you can simply call the internal rendering function for an individual page and see that it's okay when called with particular arguments. So it's not really a it's a kind of a unit test. I will say it's kind of a unit test, not an integration test. So there's that, and then if we go to integration test, and we'll do our same thing of reformatting the code, optimize imports, rearrange entries. So now we've got all the right imports. Looks like we need a class here, so runs a server with a fake in-memory database to test the system. That's pretty reasonable. Everything else looks pretty good there. So we've gone through our 3 files. So let's do a Command-Alt-Shift-I to run checkstyle once again over the whole project and see how good we've gotten. Well, we're down to just 3 items. That's pretty good. So in application.test, we're missing a package info. Now the problem here is actually that this thing isn't in a package at all. Okay, as you can see, there's no package statement. packageinfo.java needs to be inside a package for it to be of any use. So I've kind of talked about that here as place the sample test in a package called test so that they can have a package.info file. Again, inexplicable to me why they don't just, kind of observe, regular practices. So what we can do is we can click that and hit F6 to move application.test to a package we'll call test. And so we'll say refactor. That looks good there. And it gives us some warnings, which we're going to hopefully be fine with. And then we need to do F6 on this guy to move him into test. So we'll do refactor. And now these guys are in the test package, which means that we can do a propeller n and add this package info file, add it to Git. And let's see, integration test. Oh, look at this one. First sentence should end with a period inside integration test. So let's look there. Whoops, add your integration test here. Okay, so that's not good. Let's just get rid of that line and then make this an actual, let's make this a better comment. So we'll just call it check if the welcome page is being shown. It's still not fantastic, but a little bit better than it was before, and is closer to observing the elements of Java style. Okay, so now we can do a Command-Alt-Shift-I one more time, check style, whole project, analyze the code. No suspicious code found. Okay, so that's good. We've succeeded in eliminating all the check style errors. So we fixed all the errors. Commit your clean version of the playjava example system to GitHub. So we'll go back to GitHub and we'll say system is now clean and passes check style. Check style. Commit and sync. And we wait for the little buzzy. Okay, so now if we were to go here, we'll see that we've got this updated version of the system, and it's all clean. Okay, and we've got this internal test directory and so forth. All right, so that was just under 17 minutes for this WOD. And I think this is a good WOD to go through, at least a couple times so you get real comfortable running check style, refactoring things, moving things around, making sure your getignore is good, and then we'll move on from here to get into some kind of more advanced play development.